Crawford to put the ball in the air. Dick Bavetta and Eddie F. Rush are the other officials. And San Antonio controls the opening tip with Tony Parker bringing the ball into the front court. He's picked up by Chauncey Billups. Ginobili is guarded by Tayshaun Prince. Duncan comes way outside with Wallace on him and then puts it up off the glass.
You're looking for that early, Al. What you want is any time that you get a switch or you get in a help situation, get the ball to Duncan early and let him operate in the clock.
Tayshaun Prince is guarded by Ginobili.
Now, this is a big matchup in this game tonight.
And Manu bodies him, and the foul is called here by Dick Bavetta. So go back to the basket, the opening basket of the game, Duncan.
Well, what I like to see there on that screen, Rasheed Wallace had to help. That freed up Duncan for a second. Anytime that you're running at Duncan, he can make the jumper or he can take you off the dribble.
Now Rasheed Wallace, one of the stars the other night, over Duncan, and he has that height advantage, and he's been able to exploit it at early junctures in games throughout the finals.
That time and time again, Al, especially from that spot on the floor.
Ginobili stops and hits.
The Ginobili-Prince matchup could dictate the game. Ginobili needs to create and score big, and Prince needs just to be consistent and force Ginobili into a difficult night shooting.
And they look like Bowen and Hamilton underneath on that sequence. Now Rasheed Wallace for three. That doesn't go. Parker gets it for the Spurs. Loves to penetrate. Goes all the way. Has to dish it back out, and that's a turnover. And Detroit now with a 3-on-1. And he got away with traveling. He missed the basket, but they get it back.
3-on-1 situation. All he had to do was give it up, get it back. The defender would have had to commit.
Ben Wallace, an MVP candidate in this series.
There's got to be premium on the defensive rebounding here tonight. Detroit's having a shade under 15 a game, and then at the other end, San Antonio 13.
Parker, a runner from the lane, and Big Ben off the glass.
Easy points tonight will be the key in this game. Whether you get him on second shots or whether you get him out in transition.
Billups, who had a 34-point game in Game 5. Prince has come alive in the last couple of games of the series after a very slow start. Wallace works on Mohammed, and Wallace has given them far more offense in the finals than anyone could have dreamed.
Well, Ben Wallace is shooting 56%. Now, a lot of his shots are on second shot attempts cutting to the basket, but he has shot a very, very high percentage facing the basket. Now, that was a difficult release.
Parker stopping in the lane, has that one blocked. Hamilton quickly over to Prince. Hamilton is free. Duncan sends it out to Parker. Bruce Bowen handling the ball. He's going to drive, and Bruce Bowen will draw the foul.
Yeah, good call by Joey Crawford. A definite bump. You can see when the guys have the basketball tonight, they are not going to let them maul one another at the defensive end.
Bowen to inbound. Early substitution as Brent Barry comes into the game, and they give Parker an early rest. So Popovich, less than 4 minutes into the game, goes to the bench, and there goes Ben Wallace all the way in for the lay-in.
Once again, a deflection. San Antonio must play tougher in the post area and in the paint. You must be strong. This is a team that relies on shot blocking, deflections, forced turnovers to get out in the open floor.
Parker comes back in. So what was that there? Was it just a case of Popovich wanting to talk to Parker? He had him out for 15 seconds.
Absolutely.
Puts him back in. Barry sits down. Now Ginobili inside the arc.
You can see that Prince is honoring the quickness off the dribble of Ginobili in his first 2 possessions. But Ginobili will give you that rocker move and step back. He's a very confident guy in the perimeter.
Hamilton off the curl, and that's his bread and butter play. Detroit by 4 early. Duncan passed up a shot from 15. Mohammed gets the rebound, can't get the bounce. Duncan loses it. Back come the Pistons.
Now that's the value of a point guard who's getting you 5 rebounds. Chauncey Billups kept that ball alive to knock it out.
Billups, 3-point attempt. Duncan with the rebound.
I like the pace. This is San Antonio pace. Now, for Detroit, they just got to take advantage of the 3-on-2, 4-on-3s and get the easy baskets.
Mohammed, Ben Wallace on him. The sheet is on Duncan. And out of bounds, that one will go to San Antonio.
Detroit's defense has been just what you would expect it to be. They're trying to play and clog up off the dribble to the basket penetration by Parker and Ginobili. Then they've done a very good job in holding San Antonio to 1 shot attempt.
Fresh clock is going inbounds. Duncan collects it. And over Rasheed Wallace and Big Ben underneath. But all he needs is that one left hand. Like a big claw. And you got Billups posting down low and scoring through Parker.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about that. Billups can take Parker at will. He not only has a size advantage, but he also has 20 pounds on him. Move and create a passing lane for Barry so that you get a dunk.
Barry was still grimacing a couple of seconds ago. Sucks it up. Guards Prince. This is Lindsey Hunter. Dice turns around and drops it in over Rory.
From that area, McDyess shoots a terrific percentage, whether he's facing or whether he is taking you with a fadeaway jump shot. That's his pet area.
Final minute of the quarter. Ori. Now Tayshaun Prince with 45 seconds. Hamilton comes off the curl. That time Bowen was right with him.
Yeah, he gambled. He shot the gap and he gambled.
Here's Hunter. Lindsey is short. But Detroit gets it.
Oh, bad pass.
Then they throw it away. And it's Barry. And it's knocked away as Hamilton saves the basket. They couldn't save the ball, but he saves the basket on a fine play. And now with 22 seconds to play, San Antonio will have it.
Now, this is just a sensational play by Hamilton right there. Not only that, but how about this? Almost a great save.
2-second differential between the shot and game clock. They can take it almost all the way down.
In every game in this situation, you'll get a high screen somewhere at the top of the circle.
And there it is. And Parker tries to exploit it, and he can't. And Hamilton will throw one up just before the horn and not get it.
Of the defender.
Chauncey Billups has spent a lot of time on the bench with those 2 fouls. McDyess missing. Brent Barry, son of Rick. Ori off the bench with 8. Duncan a like figure. Tim on a fall away.
I like the defense by Antonio McDyess. He was not going to allow Duncan to bank that jump shot. He played him tight and jammed him and then forced him into an off-balance release.
Billups trying to lose Barry. Good tight defense. It comes outside. Now Ginobili is going to lay it in there for Duncan. Tim has to come back out.
We only have had one fast break score in this game, and that was by Detroit.
Duncan off the glass. Normally money in the bank for him, but not in this series. He's not been consistent with that shot.
Well, the tempo has been up and down, but they are not looking to push and then challenge in the 4-on-3 or 5-on-4 situation. They're settling to set up a half-court offense at both ends.
Foul call here, and it is the second on Antonio McDyess.
Right now, with Parker coming back in the game, they move Ginobili to the small forward position. You have Parker and Barry in the backcourt.
Hamilton will get a brief rest. Hunter back into the game for Larry Brown. 6.5 left in the half. And a foul here as Tim Duncan gets fouled. That foul is on Big Ben Wallace, and that is number 2 on Ben.
Now just keep an eye down inside. See, Ben has been able to get quite a few deflections once Duncan makes the catch. The main thing right now is the game is being called very close, and you must pick your spots.
And then there's contact outside, and Ginobili
That was unfortunate.
gets fouled, and Wallace is slow in getting up.
Yeah, Rasheed Wallace was trying to make a move in covering ground. See, watch, he's going to step out here right now, but it gets right there with the left leg, trips Ginobili, and that's a stinger.
Rasheed's up, but that's 2 on him. He got into foul trouble the other night and ended the game with 5 fouls, and was the star down the stretch for Detroit in Game 6.
Both teams basically are rotating 7 guys once we got into Game 6, and they're doing it again this evening.
Parker. Yeah, this is not, as Joey Crawford looks, and it's going to be called a jump ball. Crawford checking things out with Eddie Rush.
Well, in my opinion, I thought it was off Detroit. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, just keep it right.
Ginobili.
Yeah, at the last second. They're going to take it into the middle.
So it gets adjudicated as we come back to the center jump circle. Ben Wallace and Nazr Mohammed, the way the game started. And this time it's Detroit controlling the tip.
Yeah, Ben Wallace is quick on the tap. You must be ready. You've got to be ready to battle him because he wins almost all of the jump balls in the series.
Rasheed Wallace is guarded by Nazr Mohammed and draws the foul with 5:51 to play in the half. It's the 25th playoff game for Detroit on top of an 82-game regular season, and everybody is leaving it on the floor tonight. I know that's a cliche, but there's no other way to put it. Wallace, Ben Wallace.
Al, you're absolutely right. Detroit has played, this will be their 107th game of the year. San Antonio 106th. And you have to be at the top because it's for all of the marbles. And you know, what we're getting here right now is Detroit struggling, getting great looks for threes, but Ginobili and Parker only have 7 points between them. 10 points between them.
Yes, they do mono for a 3.
You know he is not bashful. He is always looking for the 3. In this series, that was his 11th score. 3-point make.
4 out of 5 for the Spurs tonight. 1 out of 7 are the Pistons from three-point land, and Ben Wallace gets free inside to tie it at 33.
Yeah, I love that. Anytime Antonio gets it and throws the ball fake, they're going because they do not want him to hit another open jump shot, but he'll give it up in traffic.
Bowen from about 8 feet, and the Admiral salutes that one. His old ball club has the lead by 2.
Now, Billups pushed him into a very tough area. That was a difficult shot.
Whistle as the pass comes into McDyess.
Yeah, McDyess was working very hard to post up Muhammad on that possession. They were looking to go for him right down inside low.
And the foul is on Muhammad. That is his second. Duncan returns to the game.
Yeah, Duncan is on McDyess. Wallace is on Ori. Or Ori is on Ben Wallace. Duncan is on McDyess.
Ticking down to 2 minutes.
Yeah, he wants to back down Parker here.
And then he lays it off underneath, and Big Ben is getting free for those jams.
When Chauncey Billups turns the corner on a screen and he gets down, the defense, you can count on it. It's going to rotate to him. But Chauncey will give it up to the big man who's open.
Ben Wallace, Defensive Player of the Year, has 12 points in the game to lead all scorers.
That's that same shot that Bowen had on the other side. He made it look easy, but that is a very difficult angle.
Hamilton. A little too strong. Good call underneath.
Good call. Loose ball foul. They had that one out all the way over the top of Billups.
Kid Rock in from Detroit. Both teams now in the penalty. They'll go to the line for the rest of the half, which right now has 86 seconds remaining. The WNBA on ABC. This Sunday, the game is Lisa Leslie and the LA Sparks against the Detroit Shock. Let's check in with Stuart Scott.
Al, if you ever wonder what Chauncey Billups is doing at 3 o'clock in the morning on game nights, he's watching a replay on the game on ESPN. He says every game he watches the replay. I said, why? He said, I just got to see if there's anything else I could have done. He said, usually if they play a great game, he finds things that they could have done better. If they play a bad game, he says, I usually see that we didn't play as bad as I thought we did. I said, what does your wife think about it? He said, she understands. She usually wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning. She'll see me, roll her eyes, and just go back to bed. She knows me.
Now Parker drives to the basket. Why doesn't he get TiVo and get some sleep? Watch it at 8 in the morning.
Then maybe Parker will get going right now. That one opened up for him. He was too quick for Campbell down in the painted area.
Final minute of the opening half.
Nice.
Beautiful inside, and this time Hunter does get the bounce.
That was a beautiful pass by Elton Campbell and a great backdoor change of direction by Hunter.
And now you got another foul call here, and this one is on Lindsey Hunter, prone to picking up fouls, sometimes in bunches. That's a second on him.
Well, you would try not to foul, especially when you are out at least 35 to 40 feet from the basket. You're trying not to have the contact, mainly because you don't want to send a guy to the foul line at this juncture. You want them to try to shoot and make the basket because both teams are struggling with low shooting percentages at this juncture in the game.
You got Parker in the game, and Larry Brown thinking about foul trouble. He has Ronald Dupree, who's barely played in postseason in the game. He also has Eldon Campbell in the game. Campbell has played sparingly. Campbell has not been in this series at all, but with 43.7, Larry does not want to risk that extra foul.
Right, he's trying to protect his front court guys and also Billups. He does not want to have Billups pick up his third here.
And Devin Brown has come in for Popovich for the first time of the game. That's Brown defensively on Prince. Kept back up, cleared by Barry.
Once again, Duncan with an intimidation there. He changed the direction of that shot.
Ginobili letting the clock work its way down. Now to 7 seconds. behind his back. And Manu puts it up, and it doesn't go. At the end, nearly a double dribble.
They're getting caught on the double team. Every time they go to help out, double team, the Detroit big men are finding Ben Wallace or McDyess, and they're scoring a lot of points.
Period begins with Detroit inbounding. That means San Antonio gets the first possession of the fourth quarter. Tonight, San Antonio has been hot from beyond the arc. Detroit, the other night, was hot. Here's Billups. Picked up those 2 quick fouls. And missed a lot of time in the first half. Chauncey off the glass, missing here. Mohammed with a rebound.
Yeah, he was off balance on that release. Give Parker a lot of credit. Good, solid defense.
Who's in foul trouble? The only guy is Rasheed Wallace, who has 3. Duncan fights his way in. Scrambles and goes down and collects it. And he's a little slow.
Yeah, see, that's a good call. That's a loose ball foul. Now, unfortunately, Duncan is not moving.
Somebody landed on Tim Duncan. Foul will be on Billups, and Chauncey picks up a 3rd foul in the first couple of seconds of the
you can
half.
see
Yeah, there it is.
that's
right
unintentional. He was trying to avoid the collision. Unfortunately for him, he lands right there on the top of Duncan, and Duncan has the ball right under his chest. Rasheed did a terrific job in intimidating Duncan on that release, point-blank range under the rim.
Parker has it knocked away, but Ginobili gets it back, and then Manu gets fouled, despite Ben Wallace saying it should be an offensive foul, and that's going to be Rasheed Wallace, and that's his 4th. So Billups has picked up his 3rd, and Wallace his 4th in the first minute of the 3rd period.
Yeah, this is unfortunate because once again they lose the loose ball situation. Now Wallace right now, you can see it. That's big. Anytime that you have 4 fouls, you only have 2 points in this game and 0 rebounds. This is the team we said you won game 6 because of the contribution of Prince and Wallace. 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks.
Larry Brown's compelled to take him out here.
Absolutely.
McDyess comes into the game. Ginobili misses the 2nd free throw attempt, but we have an Eddie Rush call, and it might be lane violation. Was it a shooter's lane violation, Ginobili?
Yeah, I guess they're calling it on the stepping in. On the stepping in, and it looked like both guys were in at the same time.
Underneath, Wallace gets muscled. Ginobili quickly to Parker.
Now, in this game, San Antonio does not have a fast break basket. That is shocking.
One reason would be Detroit, the paucity of turnovers. They just don't turn the ball over very often.
That was beautiful rotation by McDyess. He came right into the area so that Ginobili could not get a good shot attempt.
And Hamilton has that one dropped, and he gets fouled.
Now, if you're rooting for Detroit. You know that Hamilton and Billups must get it going for you out on the perimeter. That will open up your inside game. This is a tough shot right there. Being challenged and hit.
Hamilton, 23 points the other night. He came up huge in game 6. 3-point play here. Rip has 11. Ben Wallace is the leading scorer. On the floor are those guys for San Antonio. And on the bench is Horry, who is their leading scorer tonight with 10 points. Ginobili cross court. Bowen lays it into Mohammed. Parker will launch a 3. Duncan is there. Duncan misses what would have been a jam. Here's Billups.
And McDyess wanted that one. They're going for the baseline screens.
Prince pulls up, misses a 10-footer.
See, they ran. Prince called for the down screen so that they would run 2 curls. But what he wanted to take Parker down inside the foul line and shoot over the top.
And you've got Duncan getting fouled here, and you saw a gyration by Ben Wallace, who can't believe the call. Rasheed looks on in disbelief from the bench, and that's 3 on him.
Yeah, you see what happens. Look how deep he's pinning him. See, any time that there's transition, you're about 3 to 4 feet in front of the rim. And if they pin you on their back, all right, it's going to be a strong move. Detroit wanted an offensive foul on Duncan.
Duncan alone from 18. And Wallace went up too quickly for the rebound, and it's out of bounds to San Antonio.
In this game, you can talk about pressure, because we have had some really open looks, uncontested, and guys are just missing.
Duncan with McDyess on him since Wallace is out of the game.
Good hand.
Billups nearly stole, knocks it away out of bounds, but San Antonio will get it with only 8 on the clock.
That's the value of the deflection. Even if you don't make the steal, deflect the ball with the clock. You're down inside 8 seconds now on this catch.
Duncan off the glass.
What a great play by Ben Wallace to knock that right to his man.
And what a nice pass by him as well on the other end, and Popovich calls a timeout. Prince on the other end for the bucket. Parker and Ginobili had 2. Ginobili's basket, by the way, the first fast break points by San Antonio tonight. And so Detroit has its 9-0 run, answered with a 7-0 run, and that's a 2-point game with 5:50 to go in the third.
I like the defense. Full court defense disrupted. We're already down to 13 seconds.
Billups slip, gets back up. Now we're down to 7 seconds. McDyess gets free and drops it from 18.
You love Ben Wallace and McDyess tonight. Ben Wallace is 6 for 9, and McDyess is 5 for 6. So the 2 of them are carrying this front court lack of production for Detroit.
Barry and Horry in the game for San Antonio.
Yeah, McDyess and Duncan were in a war down inside. They were really banging around down in there, and then they catch Duncan with an offensive foul.
Yeah. Ben Wallace, again, the lowest free throw percentage in history among fellows with a significant number of free throws, missing the first here.
Well, he's now 9 for 20. Yeah, he's 9 for 20 in this series, Al.
That's 45%. Now be closer to his lifetime average after that one. Horry. Ginobili comes out to get it. Duncan now. Works on McDyess. Goes all the way. Can't get it to drop off the glass.
Outstanding double team from Ben Wallace as he came across. Duncan had the advantage. He was a shoulder ahead of McDyess, but Ben Wallace came in there. Terrific move.
Prince pulls up and drops it in for a 6-point Detroit margin.
Well, you're going to earn your shot releases from now to the end. We know that it was difficult to get a good look without being challenged in the first half. This half, baby, they are flying at one another.
Bowen, he's going to dish it underneath to Duncan, and Duncan's going to get fouled.
Keep an eye on Duncan on this move. Now, you'll see right there he hits McDyess. But watch Ben Wallace come into the fray here. Right there. See, that caused Duncan to shoot a higher arc on his shot. You just love Ben Wallace tonight. I tell you, the young man has been everywhere. He's really laying it on the line. His intimidations, never mind his numbers with the rebounding and the points. He has really been helping out his teammates.
He's an MVP candidate if Detroit wins. He has 11 points. Meanwhile, McDyess just picked up. Duncan has 11. McDyess just picked up his 4th foul, so he comes out. And you got McDyess and Rasheed Wallace pretty much sharing a front court spot. They each have 4.
Right now, Detroit is very small. With Hunter and Billups in the backcourt, you have Hamilton and Price up front. So you are trying to get by with Tayshaun Prince as a power forward right now.
Tim Duncan, their leading scorer, and in fact leads everybody on both teams. He has 13 points.
Right now we're seeing, looks like a 2-3 zone right there for San Antonio.
Prince.
Prince thought he was fouled. Dick Bavetta told Prince that it was a clean block.
Duncan, this time he's got Prince on him. And Duncan puts it in and gets fouled. And they called it on Barry, the foul on Barry from behind.
Well, I thought Barry fouled him. There's no doubt that Duncan came across and got a clean block.
Well, you never know how they're going to call it on plays
Oh,
like
no,
that.
you're right. Absolutely right.
I know never in time are contradictory, but you know what I mean, Yubi.
Yes, I do. Right now, in your favor, if you're Detroit, Billups and Hamilton are 80% foul shooters, and I cannot believe I said that as Hamilton misses.
It's the kibosh.
And as we play right now, Rip Hamilton is your leading rebounder with 7. Is he doing a job?
Duncan now. Tim Duncan banks one home. 53-all.
Ben Wallace did not close him out. In the early going, McDyess and Rasheed Wallace were taking that bank shot away from Timmy by playing him tight.
Tim Duncan, big quarter. 10 of his 18 points in the period.
Hamilton wanted to clear out here.
San Antonio can take the lead again. Tim Duncan scoring a point a minute here in the period.
Now you've got to go there.
Missing here. Underneath, Ben Wallace saves.
I like that. Never allow the referee to make a decision. If you can get that ball before it gets out of bounds, get it.
2 minutes to play in the period. Chauncey Billups in the lane, and he's going to get fouled. Bowen.
Chauncey's just going strong now. He knows that this is his time.
38 of 41 is Billups from the line now in the series. That foul on Bowen was his 4th. So Bowen is 4. And on the other side, McDyess and Rasheed Wallace each have 4.
Chauncey Billups just steps up there, Al, cool, and knocks it down with a beautiful release, nonchalant.
Pistons by 2, Barry outside.
Ben Wallace fighting Duncan.
Ginobili drives all the way in to score. It was around Ben Wallace who came in underneath and puts it in to tie it at 55.
Hey, no way could Ben Wallace help on that situation. Mainly because he had to worry about Duncan. If he would have moved to help, Duncan would have had a dunk.
Hunter. Wallace almost made a spectacular putback.
Yeah, Lindsey's struggling in this game right now. He's 1 for 6, and he's had an awful lot of good looks at the basket.
Coming up on a minute to go. Duncan, and has that one swatted out of bounds by Wallace with 4 seconds on the 24. which Rasheed Wallace reminds his teammates. And Duncan gets free and off the glass.
That can't happen. Mainly because there's 4 seconds. You got to belly up on your man. So even though they scream, he would take you right with him.
Spurs by 2. And Billups has to go out of bounds. It's off San Antonio. You get 9 seconds.
Now, that was a difficult shot. And also, once again, San Antonio comes up with another shot block.
Nine on the 24. Billups to inbound. Prince.
San Antonio's in a zone now. They zone you on the side out of bounds play.
3 on the clock. Hunter in traffic. And it's a 24-second violation.
Talking to Greg Popovich today, our defense must come back. We had great defense in games 1 and 2, where we had the shot blocks, we had forcing turnovers, getting out in the open floor. Well, maybe it's going to happen here in the last 4 to 5 minutes of this quarter. Can they continue it, though, during quarter number 4?
4.6-second differential. Parker, Ginobili trying to get free on a wing. Parker will pull up. He'll miss that. And it's out of bounds to Detroit, and you're going to have 7.4 on the clock.
Now, you have plenty of time here right now. Watch the drive and the kick out.
Billups to Prince.
There it is.
They work it into the corner. From the corner, Hunter drops it in. With .7, that's a long two. And a steal, and the shot doesn't go at the end. But Hunter was inside the arc. The long two ties it. That's the scene, the live scene from the Palace of Auburn Hills. The 2.5-hour flight northeast of here. They're all watching there, and of course here at the SBC Center. They will look on. We might see a little bit of history tonight. There's only been 2 other occasions when Game 7 was tied at the end of 3. One was back in 1955, 50 years ago, when the Fort Wayne Pistons were tied with Syracuse. The Syracuse won the game. The other was in 62, Celtics-Lakers, a game that went to overtime. A game the Lakers could have won if Frank Selby had made a shot at the end of regulation. A little history for you. And now the present for you. Al Michaels, Hubie Brown, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott, fourth quarter, and San Antonio inbounds to start it.
Now, Tim Duncan at the end of 3 has 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks.
Duncan.
Good
Again, it's Wallace who creates it. Big Ben. Rasheed is back in the game. He has 4 fouls. Underneath, Rasheed is going to work it back outside. Hunter. Ginobili off the glass.
See, right away, Rip Hamilton went right into the post and posted up Parker.
Duncan with a dunk.
Beautiful feed by Brent Barry. Ben Wallace went for the steal. The defensive rotation was not there from the other side of the lane.
Duncan had 12 points and 6 rebounds in the third period. Hamilton. And Wallace tips it to himself. Just great. And then there's a whistle. It's so loud that you couldn't even hear it. Back to the Duncan basket.
Now just keep an eye. Watch down in the corner here. A beautiful feed. Duncan seals off Ben Wallace.
And there's Dad. That foul was on Ginobili. That's his 3rd of the game. Rasheed Wallace inside.
He's got to have a good quarter here. They need his points. there's a defensive foul right there on the post up. They have been consistent all night. And the post play defensively, you must adjust, especially now in the last 10 minutes and 36 seconds.
Second foul on Tim Duncan. Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, they need Rasheed Wallace to come to life here. Come on, time is running down here now.
5 on the clock.
Gotta be quick.
Turnaround by Rasheed goes to tie it at 59.
Al, he can do it. He can do it with his back to the basket. He can do it out of pick and spot up. He can also do it for you in movement anytime that his defender goes to double team. He just must come to life now. He's looking, he checks the clock. Now watch what happens here. It's just up and up over the top of the defender.
Inbounding with 19 on the 24. Bowen's going to come back in. They'll give Parker a little rest here. Bowen has 4 fouls.
Yeah, they have Barry and Ginobili in the backcourt now.
Ginobili working outside. Manu starts in. All the way in.
That was so clever. He hesitated his dribble, and as soon as he saw daylight, Al, that was an explosion. He attacked that rim.
And that's the type of thing he did in games 1 and 2 when he was spectacular. Spurs by 2. Wallace missing. And Ginobili gets a big rebound.
He had a good opportunity, a good look. I thought excellent defense by Duncan. Really challenged that shot.
Duncan guarded by Rasheed. Comes out to Barry, gets back into Tim, and it's off Duncan's hands.
Yeah, Duncan thought that he was fouled, but that was a challenge, a good deflection. And that pass, I like what Brent Barry did. When the pass came out, always look for the postman to repost, and he did. He tried to get it back into him in a deeper set.
Duncan gets a breather. Horry comes into the game. 9:15 left in the fourth.
Oh, you've got to go to Rasheed now. Now, Horry's a good defender, but he's giving up a lot of sides here.
Hamilton guarded here by Mohammed. He's going to back off. Clock is down at 5. Cross court. Clock at 1. Prince puts it up.
Oh,
and
yes.
Big Ben gets another huge offensive board, but then Joey Crawford makes the call here. And you've got a foul call here.
Detroit must get Chauncey Billups going here. He's only 1 for 5 in this game.
Mohammed, who was whistled just before that break for his 3rd foul, with the rebound.
Yeah, Ginobili was all over Rip Hamilton on that one. He challenged that one right to the release.
8.5 left. Horry from the corner drops it in for 3.
That is the 5th 3 in this game for the Spurs. Detroit still struggling in three-point shooting. 1 for 9. Big difference.
Rasheed Wallace puts it in over Horry. 64-61 Spurs.
They didn't get that any time, Al. No way can Horry prevent Rasheed from getting a high percentage shot if he plays behind him.
Brent Barry picked up by Billups. Now Ginobili. Prince out there with him. Gonna drive and stop. Turn around and miss it. Rebound comes off. Hamilton leaves it for Billups.
Now they have Bowen on Billups now. Barry's on Rip Hamilton.
Switch that turned out well for them toward the end of game 5. 5 on the clock. It's going to be contested, whatever it is, and Wallace has it knocked away. But Pavetta underneath is going to call it against Detroit. 24-second violation. Never reached the rim.
Well, that was another great shot block. But give Ginobili a lot of credit.
Horry with Wallace on him.
Yeah, see, right now, Horry's all upset. Dick Bavetta called the travel. Horry is saying that he pulled me. He pulled me into the travel as he tried to make the reverse spin.
And Bavetta, who's been around, just looks on impassively.
Well, we all know when you get situations like that in traffic, Al, it's the angle. Your look as the referee, the angle on the call.
Hamilton off the curl. Duncan with the rebound. Tim has 10 rebounds in the game. Had a great third quarter. Duncan with Ben Wallace on him. Gonna dish it back to Horry. And that one's not close, but Duncan keeps it alive for the Spurs.
Remember we told you about Duncan's offensive rebounding. That's his 5th of this game.
Now Bowen from outside, and Bruce Bowen, who's been pretty quiet from three-point land. He loves to shoot from the corners. He doesn't shoot from that angle that often, but he, like Horry, is deadly from outside the arc. Place is rocking after that three by Bowen. It's a 6-point lead, and it's the biggest lead in the game for San Antonio.
Well, with 6 minutes and 9 seconds to go, Chauncey Billups and Rick Hamilton are 6 for 22. And they have got to come to life. Because once they get going, if they would get going with the 17 to 22-foot game and then off the dribble, it will open up the front line.
Billups has only 1 field goal in the game.
That's a big stat.
And a steal. Horry knocked it away.
Well, we said with about 4 to 5 minutes in that third quarter, we have finally seen the San Antonio defense come to life that we witnessed in games 1 and 2.
Duncan trying to lay it off for Horry. Good defense underneath. Steal by Detroit.
Got to run a staggered screen here. Or a curl. He wants to go into Rasheed Wallace, cut through, or take Barry in a one-on-one.
Rasheed over Duncan.
Needed that. Wow. That was a big basket for Detroit.
Very.
Rasheed has come in here right now looking to score. And he's running a nice thing right now. He's 4 for 7.
Duncan. McDyess is on him. Hamilton came over to help. That freed Parker, and he's still short, but Horry is there underneath. Big board.
Mr. Intangible. Boy, I'm telling you, he's alive, always on those rebounds or the short shot. They'll continue to give Parker that shot. You know, he's really struggled throughout this game on this perimeter shooting. He's now 3 for 11, and the shot has not gone down.
Turn it over here. Timeout is called. William Davidson, the Pistons managing partner, who watched his Pistons win the championship last year. He also owns the Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team, and they won the Stanley Cup.
It was a terrific double team by Ginobili. As Prince left the area, he vacated the low box and went away. Ginobili came right back and double-teamed Billups so that he would not be able to take his man one-on-one. Now we have Bowen on Billups. Parker is guarding Hamilton.
Inside, McDyess, turnaround short. Horry off the glass.
That was a beautiful pass by Rasheed. And Tony McDyess had a great look.
Under 4 left.
Now you have your switch here now. So you have Prince on Timmy Duncan.
And you also have 2 on the shot clock. And from the corner, it's Duncan.
That's the first shot from the right side of the floor that Duncan hit. But I like it because Ginobili challenged and then he kicked back to Duncan. Beautiful.
And then driving to the hoop is Chauncey Billups, who's been limited to 1 field goal tonight. Picks up his second 4-point game.
Now Detroit needed that and Chauncey Billups needed that.
3:10 remaining. Duncan puts it on the floor, lays it off to Ginobili with 2 on the clock. Huge.
Duncan accepted that double team and knew exactly where he was going. When that happens in a game against great defenses, you must be ready to catch and shoot immediately. That is the 7th three-point make for San Antonio, and Detroit only has made 1 3, a difference of 6 points.
And in total contrast to game 6.
Picked up those extra points.
Now you've got Rasheed Wallace missing. Ginobili is there. Wallace was right on, but short.
It is where San Antonio does an excellent job. They run the clock well once they get inside of 3 minutes. They just do not rush the situation.
2:20 left, and the reaching foul here on Ben Wallace.
Well, Detroit, that is their first foul.
First foul of the quarter.
First foul, right. But we're approaching the 2-minute mark here.
Pistons have only 8 points in the period.
That's right. Only 26 for the half, Al. And they're going to look at that and shake their heads because they have not been able to score. But then again, the San Antonio defense has actually stepped up big time.
Here's Duncan. Comes up short. Big rebound for Ben Wallace. Ticking down to 2 minutes. Chauncey Billups is going to drive, and he is going to get fouled, and then he stumbles at the end of the play and goes down hard. Stumbled over Bowen. That is a foul, which is number 5 now on Bowen. Number 5 on Bruce Bowen.
Now, if you get the 2 foul shots here, you're in a 5-point game. Plenty of time. You have 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
And they'll shoot fouls the rest of the way. That's the 14th foul.
That's right.
You got Billups at the line. Billups is 6 out of 6.
Main thing right now, Detroit must really sharpen up their defense. They're bringing Lindsey Hunter in right now, and he's going to be on Ginobili.
Prince down. 2:02 to play. Billups with 11 points. Detroit's leading scorers are Hamilton and Ben Wallace with 12 each, and he misses the second. 6-point game.
Like we said before, San Antonio, just take your time, good ball movement, run the clock, make sure you get high percentage shots.
They use the clock. Duncan off the glass, missing. Ben Wallace again to clear it.
Now, Larry Brown, you know you're getting what you want. 1 shot attempt. You got the rebound, but you got to make it happen.
Big possession here for Detroit, and Hamilton goes through the lane, and they're going to call it on Detroit.
Offensive foul. Rick Hamilton had no place to go. He got hit right in the thigh. Keep an eye on it. He's going to run right in there. Once again, the intangible man.
Horry
gets the loose balls, gets offensive boards, but he takes charges, and he then naturally, the bottom line is he makes big 3-point saves.
Barry comes in. Bowen will go out. Horry is 91 seconds away from a 6th ring. And he takes a timeout here. 1:31 remaining in the 4th quarter. San Antonio 72 to 66.
Well, as we sit right now, they're shooting 41% from the floor, and they're still 1 for 9 in threes. They've been not able to make the shots tonight, game 7.
There's a situation with timeouts. Detroit has a foul to give. San Antonio doesn't. Brent Barry will inbound in the front court.
There's still plenty of time here for Detroit, but they've got to get stops. Oh, there
what
it
a
is.
steal, and it's Ben Wallace
That's
again.
right.
Coming over to the sideline. He is everywhere. Another huge possession, and Billups with a pull-up to drop it in to make it a 4-point game.
There you go now. Now it's your defense. Just use clock management as the key. For San Antonio, it must be high percentage shots, strong drives to the basket. Detroit holding the one-shot attempt.
Duncan gets it inside. Rasheed Wallace is there. Rasheed Wallace backs it out of his hand, but got his arm as well and commits the foul, and that's going to be 5.
Well, they've been getting away throughout this series by trying to strip the ball on Duncan every time he makes that move. Just watch. See, they don't go for the block. They go for the strip right there. Now, the pressure's on Duncan to go to the line now and make the foul shots. Tonight, he's 4 for 4.
Tim Duncan trying to increase a 4-point lead with 62 seconds to play.
There you go.
You never know what you're going to get from him from the line in the playoffs. He was 15 for 15 one night. Followed that up with 3 for 12. Tonight, 5 for 5 in the ultimate crunch time game. One of two. Ben Wallace gets the rebound, and Larry Brown calls an immediate timeout. 62 seconds.
Quickest that we have in the league, Al, in foot speed, in closing you out on the perimeter. They run drills for that. Then they force you to put the ball on the floor because they are an excellent front line rotation team with shot blocking.
Tayshaun Prince will inbound.
Now both teams are in the penalty right now. You're shooting the penalty. Detroit only has a 20-second time left.
Chauncey Billups, and he has it blocked way outside by Bowen.
Now that was an incredible defensive play.
Bowen charging, making the block. Under 40 to play. Ginobili. And that's going to make it a 3-possession game. Into the corner. Wallace bangs it home. Rasheed Wallace, 75-71 with 22.7. And you have to foul whoever gets it on the inbound play, and it happens to be Ginobili.
Well, San Antonio is happy. The right guy is going to the foul line for you. Keep an eye on Bowen. See, he times this perfectly. He has a major height advantage on Billups. And at this end, the alley opened up, and this is the wrong guy, because when Ginobili sees that, he's going. It's a big-time pressure shot by Rasheed.
Manu Ginobili makes the first. And the Spurs 22.1 seconds away from turning the Riverwalk into Margaritaville. Not that it wouldn't be anyway, but you get the idea. 6-point lead. Larry Brown takes his final timeout. And Larry Brown, and you can only hope, for those of us who know him, and he's been around for so long, that there are a lot of people who love him, that everything comes up real clean with him, and that he can go back and do what he loves and has been his life, and that's to coach.
33 years, Al, 29 years of winning records. That is unheard of at this level. That's a very difficult thing to do. He's coached at the college level, at UCLA and Kansas. He's coached 2 teams in the old ABA, Carolina Cougars, and then Denver, and then he's coached in the NBA. He is one of the truly great teachers in the history of basketball.
6-point San Antonio lead. Detroit cannot stop the clock on a timeout. No fouls to give. Rasheed Wallace. In and out. Loose ball, out of bounds. The officials check with each other. Spurs will get it.
Yeah, Detroit's all upset. They honestly thought it was off of San Antonio. Now, from our angle, you could not tell. Main thing right now, San Antonio will try to put out there the best ball handlers and also their height, the guys that they think will make the foul shots.
And Popovich takes a timeout. 18 seconds.
Now, when they're challenging right now, they honestly thought that they had that possession. They would have had the ball with 18 seconds to go. Now, when Rasheed Wallace shoots this, it's an almost, that ball goes right off of the foot of Ben Wallace.
18 ticks.
Well, we said that San Antonio must get back to their defense that they put out in games 1 and 2. Well, with 6 minutes to go in that third quarter, we saw that old San Antonio tenacity come back. Because from that point on and out through this fourth quarter, Detroit has struggled to get a good look at a shot, whether it was a jump shot or a drive to the basket.
They won it in '99. That was a shortened year because of the lockout. They won it 2 years ago against New Jersey. Not trying to do it again. (77-71). One benefit of that timeout. You inbound the ball in front court, and Duncan to send it in.
Detroit's got to go for the steal, and then they'll probably go for a quick foul. And then force the guy to make the foul shot.
And there's Horry, and they have to foul him, and then Wallace comes out to wrap him up and send him to the free throw line. So a series that started out with a rout in each game winds up with a classic Game 5, a great Game 6, and a hard-fought, tightly contested two-possession game at the moment. At the end, Horry has 13 points, 3 out of 4 from the free throw line. 74% career free throw shooter.
Well, Horry and Barry have really been outstanding off the bench. They made 3 threes between them, and now it's a total of 19 points, with Robert being the main man. But Ginobili has 21 points here, very quietly, Al, with the 5 rebounds and the 4 assists. He's done an excellent job, especially in the second half, to back up Duncan's production.
And Horry has 15 points, and then Hamilton will go in and get fouled, so they give him a chance for a 3-point play of all things there.
Now that's a bad foul. Popovich is shaking his head. What are we doing? You make this foul shot right now, you're back down into a 5-point ball game. Big thing now, get out. Do not assume that there'll be any kind of a timeout. So what you do, if you make this now, you line up, you go for the steal, you do not get the steal, you foul immediately and hope that only 1 second goes off the clock.
That was the 4th foul on Parker. Those were Hamilton's
first
points of the period. The ball is thrown all the way down court, and Ginobili will pass up what would have been a layup to run out some of the clock with 7 seconds.
Now that was a heady play by Ginobili. Ginobili had his man face guarding him, and he made a move to the ball towards the baseline, stopped, and went long. Excellent pass.
And then the presence of mind to run around a little bit, take a couple of more seconds off. He knows he's going to go to the free throw line. He's a good free throw shooter. And this would be the total dagger here because it would make it a 3-possession game at 80-74. It is 81-74. And the San Antonio Spurs with tough defense. And Tim Duncan answering a lot of questions and erasing any doubt about coming up big when you have to come up big. And for the third time in 7 seasons, the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.